The movie Coco isn't just a story about music and family. It is built on cultural legends so old, they were shared long before film existed, long before animation, and long before modern storytelling. Every frame of the movie is woven with roots from Mexico's indigenous past, Spanish influences, and centuries of tradition that shaped how people understand life, death, and memory. When audiences watch Coco, many feel the emotion, but few realize how much history is hidden inside the beauty. The creators didn't just invent a magical world, they studied real beliefs, visited real communities, and listened to real family stories about honoring the dead. Let's start with one of the most unforgettable visuals in the film, the Land of the Dead. This breathtaking realm wasn't created out of imagination alone. It was inspired by Mexican beliefs that spirits return once a year to visit their loved ones during Dia de los Muertos. This tradition goes back over 3,000 years to the time of the Aztecs, Maya, and other Mesoamerican civilizations. To them, death wasn't the end. It was a continuation, a doorway, a chapter of life that carried just as much meaning as the world of the living. And the most iconic symbol connecting these two worlds in the movie is the glowing marigold bridge. What most people don't know is that this bridge comes from ancient Aztec mythology. Aztecs believed marigold petals known as cempasúchil had the power to guide souls safely between realms. Their bright orange color represented the sun, warmth, direction, and spiritual clarity. Families would scatter the petals across doorsteps, leading from the street to their home altars. The trail acted as a spiritual path, helping ancestors find their way without getting lost. Pixar didn't invent that idea. They honored it, and they made it glow on screen so people around the world could feel its magic. Miguel's journey mirrors a real tradition that Mexican families practice every year. They place music, food, candles, flowers, and photographs on ofrendas, beautiful altars created to welcome ancestors back home. Each object has purpose. A favorite dish reminds the spirit of who they were. A glass of water quenches the thirst of a long journey. Sugar skulls celebrate life instead of mourning death. And music. Music is a language the living and the dead can share without needing words. Even the characters' glowing bones weren't chosen just for style. Their design was inspired by historic calaveras, the playful skeletons carved, sculpted, and painted to represent the dead with joy instead of fear. These skeletons are a core part of Mexican folk art, reminding people that death is not something to run from. It is something to understand, respect, and embrace as part of the human experience. By lighting up the skeletons in vibrant colors, the film reflects the belief that ancestors remain full of personality and spirit, even beyond life. One of the most emotional moments in Coco is Hector's fading form. But this moment wasn't created for drama alone. It reflects a real cultural belief. A spirit only disappears when the last living person forgets their name. This idea is found across Mesoamerican traditions, where memory is considered a form of immortality. If someone is remembered, they continue to exist. If they are forgotten, they fade into what some traditions call the second death. So when Hector begins to flicker and vanish, it symbolizes something deeper than physical disappearance. It shows how fragile legacy can be, how one forgotten story can erase a soul's presence, and how remembering someone, even whispering their name, can pull them back into existence. This is why Coco resonated so deeply with audiences. It wasn't just fictional sadness, it was a cultural truth passed down for centuries. Now, let's talk about one of the most beloved characters in the movie, Dante the dog. Dante wasn't created simply for comedy or companionship. He is based on a real Mexican dog breed called the Xoloitzcuintli, often shortened to Ixolo. This ancient, nearly hairless dog appears in Aztec stories as a guardian who guides souls to the afterlife. Ixolos were considered sacred animals, believed to see both the physical and spiritual worlds. According to legend, only the pure-hearted could follow a Xolo safely across the spiritual river that separates life and death. That is why Dante becomes Miguel's guide without speaking a single word. His loyalty isn't just cute, it's ancestral, it's historical. It reflects a belief that even animals have spiritual roles, carrying wisdom humans sometimes forget. As the movie continues, more hidden references come into view. The papal picado banners, those delicate paper cutouts, hanging in the streets, are real decorations used to represent the fragility of life. The music Miguel plays echoes genres passed down for generations, from rancheras to boleros to traditional son. Even the glowing spirit animals, known as alebrijes, were inspired by artists like Pedro Linares, who dreamed of colorful hybrid creatures long before they appeared on screen. Coco didn't just celebrate Dia de los Muertos. It carried the weight of legends, beliefs, memories, symbols, and ancestors who shaped everything we see on screen. It introduced the world to traditions that continue to be practiced with love and meaning. And it reminded millions of people of something powerful and universal: family is eternal. Stories are bridges, and remembrance is a form of love that never truly dies. If you grew up with these traditions, Coco felt like home. And if you didn't, the movie opened a doorway to understanding a culture where death isn't an ending. It is a reunion, a celebration, a homecoming filled with color, music, and life. Leave a comment below. Share, like, follow, and subscribe for more.